now we get to do some of the fun stuff. We finished the rear suspension. What a treat that was. This is the list down here of stuff that we did. But now we're gonna do some fun interior stuff in the car that I really wanted to do to make it a nicer place to be while I wait for the alignment and some tires to come in for the wheels. We'll do a little test fit, take care of that in a bit. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a hub for the new steering wheel. We've got a new steering wheel. This is out of a 930 turbo it came off of when I bought it from the guy. Really cool wheel, I really like it. It's a Nardi Italian wheel, Nardi hub. And then we have a shift knob and a shift knob adapter. So the shift knob that comes in these cars really reminds me of like a Mark IV Volkswagen Golf or Jetta. They're just not nice to hold. I really don't like it. So we're gonna pull that out. We're also gonna do the radio. So the radio that came in this is like 90s era, lights up with fun colors kind of crap. And that just really doesn't feel good to me in a Porsche. It just doesn't seem to fit. So I got, it's like a Continental model, which is weird. You know, they make tires. I did not know they made radios, but a friend of mine has a 996, 911. He's like, I had an aftermarket radio and this fits perfectly. This is gonna look really nice on the inside in comparison, so I'm really excited about that. And that's pretty much it. We're gonna diagnose the switches, and I have a cup holder that I'm gonna install that goes basically by where the passenger's knees would be. The cup holder that exists in this car is, if you fold down the glove box, there's like 2 holes where you could put a cup of coffee. They're like indents, not even holes. And I definitely am not gonna trust a cup of coffee there, and I love taking any of my cars out for a cup of coffee. It is definitely a thing I do. So let's take a look at the gear and then take a look inside the car, what's there, make sure the radio works, and then we'll disconnect the battery and start installing stuff. We'll pull the wheel off, shift knob off, do the radio, and then that'll be the interior done once we get sorted with all that. All right, so first up is the Nardi wheel. Like I said, the guy I bought it from said it came from a 930 turbo, which I believe. It's a really nice wheel. It's black with like an Alcantara handle, black metal. It's really nice, kind of looks good for the period. This is the Nardi. Again, this came from, made in Italy. Don't know if it's from Italy now, but just like the wheel, you can only buy the adapters for it's like the 911 in the 80s and 90s, like a 930, that era, all the way up to 996. We'll use this hub along with the 928s, 944s, 924s. So, but you can't, only Nardi and personal wheels will only work with the PCD, which is like the offset of the hubs. Otherwise, most common hubs that you get are not this offset. They'll be like whatever Momo is, or the other wheels kind of share that more common offset. So that's the wheel and the hub. Here's some of the wiring harness and face for the Continental radio. I'm really excited about this radio though, just because of the simplicity of it. If you look here, I haven't taken out of the packaging yet, it really matches the inside of the car, right? It's like very, to me, you know, you put the faceplate around here, but it really looks like, you know, mid 80s, 90s, nothing super special about it. And it has things like Bluetooth, so that's really awesome. You have USB, you have Bluetooth, auxiliary in, and you could run the phone wires. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be taking calls in this car really. So yeah, that's the radio. I'm really looking forward to installing that. And then here's the cup holder. It's 3D printed, so I'm not super impressed with the finish. You can see it's kind of plasticky, a little bit cheap looking, but functionally it'll do exactly what I want, 5 feet or 5 miles an hour. I might uninstall it and sand it and paint it, try to refinish it in something else, but I don't know how. With something that's 3D printed, I don't know how well that's gonna work, so that's why I haven't done it yet. We're just gonna run that for now. Here we have the adapter. So this is the shift knob adapter. In 944s, 928s, I think they're the same, 924s. They have basically where the shift knob connects is this essentially a square, and you need to turn it into a circle to work with most shift knobs. So the kit I bought is to adapt a 996 shift knob. And then here is Black Forest Industries BFI shift knob, and it actually matches the steering wheel really, really well. I love this knob. So what you'll see is, I'm taking it out of the packaging either. It's got the Alcantara, just like the steering wheel, and then black metal, just like the steering wheel. So they're a pretty dead-on match, which is really exciting. Just hope there's a face sticker in here. There is, so there you go. that is everything we're gonna do on the inside. I'm really excited. I think it'll flow really well. It's pretty disconnected in there. Let's go take a look, make sure the radio works, and we'll get started. All right, so here we have the 944's interior. I really like the factory steering wheel. Like, it wasn't a necessity to get rid of. I just happened to find one that I also liked. You can see the shift knob I was talking about. Again, it's so funny that it reminds me of a Mark IV, and I can't get over it. Mark IV, Volkswagen Golf or Jetta, so GTI, that sort of thing. So we're gonna do that new knob, and then here's the radio I was talking about. I don't know if I need a key in it to test it. I probably do. Yeah, power on and give this a test in a second. Yeah, I just want to switch that out. I think this will match the interior so much nicer. The knobs are white, just like this. And then we'll fix the switches. We'll take a look at that. I already took a look at the relays and stuff. They're all fine. So we're gonna pull the switches out and take a look at that. And yeah, I think it'll be a much nicer place to be. It'll be nice to be able to pick music I want while I'm driving it. This is a great highway cruiser. It's actually really comfortable at like 70, 75 miles an hour. So listening to some music on the highway while cruising, while I'm going, to different spots will be really great. So let's get started on the interior stuff. I'll go grab the keys, check the radio, and then we'll disconnect the battery. Easy as that. Nut and washer are off. We'll put the hub on and then bolt the wheel to it. All right, so I've loosely secured the wheel here just with two nuts because I'm gonna have to take them back off, but this allows me to kind of square up where straight on is going to be. There was a little bit of a left twist as I pulled it off, so I think we're right in the category. We can always reset the wheel later if we need to, but that should give us pretty close to straight there. So now just put this back on. I'm gonna have to pull the wheel back off when I'm done to put the horn button on, and then we'll be good to go. All right, that's the wheel on and done. Let's move on to the shift knob. All right, so I have test fit the new knob. I really like the way it fits. I didn't actually need an adapter for it, which was nice. And the set screws are able to do their job. Now I just have to do something I didn't really consider, which is work with the shift boot. So You know, you can make your own, but these are designed, the bottom of this boot is designed specifically for the 944. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to, looking at the knob here, I'm gonna cut right below the base of the knob, and then I'm actually going to flip this in on itself and zip tie it inside of here, so you won't, obviously it's not gonna be a perfectly clean cut, but you won't be able to see that. I'm gonna zip tie it in place. I'll probably use 2 zip ties, pretty tight there, to get that in place, and that'll still allow me to access, if I do it right here, I can pull up, access the set screws, set it, and then pull it back down and set it in place. So yeah, I'm gonna make a little mark on the front so I know where the front is when I'm setting this up. Saw the top off, and then we will be good to go. So that may have not been the most correct way to do this, but what it allowed me to do was using this tool, which I was just gonna try and cut right through, it actually created ridges in the leather for me to follow. And then I was able to use a knife, just like a perforation on a piece of paper, and follow that, and it came right off. It's actually surprisingly clean. So now we're just gonna move over to the knob. I'm gonna fold this in, essentially like that, and then zip tie it on the knob. Not bad. I'm pretty stoked with those results. That was not the right way to do it, but it actually worked out. And this old thing, this Mark IV Golf shifter, can just in the trash. All right, that's it in. I think we can adjust the way this is sitting a little bit. I don't love it, but functionally it's there. It matches what it was. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the shift knob and the steering wheel. Next up, we're gonna start pulling out this radio, getting this out of here, and hooking up the new one. All right, so we have this working. Let's see if we can tune it to a channel that works. Yeah, see, the battery doesn't have enough juice to keep it alive, but we know it's coming on and working. And it previously did have radio, so it would, battery's already dead, but I had it on there for the half an hour that I was working on these two. What we're gonna do is we are going to pull this out and install the new radio, and if I have issues with the antenna, because I didn't get to test it on a local channel, I'll pull it out and mess with that. But that should be pretty much everything we need, so let's start pulling it out. So I had to take a break last night, help out with the kiddo, but what I discovered is the aftermarket wiring. This is the wiring for the new radio. The colors are actually the same as the harness on the back of the old radio. There's the same number of purples, grays, whites, greens, and they actually look to go to the same speakers and the same antenna, the same supply. I went over and checked I have a Haynes manual, and I went and looked at, okay, front speaker goes, what color wire. And I would love to take out this old wiring from this radio, but it looks like this might not be the first radio that was put in here. And the harness is cut way back into the dashboard. So rather than wire my new harness into the original factory wires, what I'm gonna try and do is cut the old harness for the old radio that I don't want. I'm gonna cut that about halfway down so that way I can reattach the radio if things don't end up working out. Always have a backup plan. And then I'm going to attach the wires. There's this one and another one. This one's all the wires that you need in order to do outputs, right? So speakers, things like that. The other harness that goes to the new radio is like power and antenna supply, that sort of thing. So real quick, I'm going to test that this works. The antenna still works. Then I'm going to pull the battery back off. It's been charging overnight, so I should have enough power now. And I'm going to cut the harness, and we will plug that into the radio and give it a test. Alright, so we've got the entire back wired up into the existing harness. It looks really gross right now because I just have things wound together with tape. I'm going to use heat shrink connectors here when I've got everything sorted out. I just connected the battery. I should grab a fire extinguisher, but we're just gonna hope for the best here. So we're gonna start this up and see if we can get this thing to go. Battery power. Radio power with light. An FM station here. Antenna's definitely working. Sound quality is much better than the old unit. Really excited about this. I really like this unit so much better than what was in here. It looks factory-esque, a little updated, but mostly factory. Really stoked. Nice. Everything's working. All the speakers are working. Only power's on with car and with power button on. And we'll shut off with power button off with the 12 volt off. So that's awesome. So yeah, next up is I'm going to unplug the radio and then basically actually correctly connect these plugs. If you were able to see way in the back here where they cut really close to the harness, this is how they left it. I'm not gonna fuss with any of that. It's working, and I don't wanna, there's like a limit to how far I wanna go and touch stuff, because I may end up breaking something that if I hadn't touched it would have been fine. So I'm just gonna fix the connectors that I set up to test, and we'll go, harness by harness here, get all of that done, and then we'll install the actual radio in. Alright, so these shrink connectors that I have, I'm boxing them around here somewhere, they have solder in the middle, so they shrink on both sides, like out here, like you're seeing, and then in the middle it's pretty hot still, but the solder, you're essentially melting into the wires to connect them. It's not perfect, but it does a pretty good job. It was highly recommended to me, and they seem to work fine. I've used them on, other projects, so seem to be doing okay. One down, 20 more to go. Okay, so everything that I have cut and wired has been heat shrunk. They're all in pretty good shape. I did a quick test with the radio. Everything still works fine. And what you end up with is two harnesses. The first one is essentially a speaker harness, and the second one is for power and antenna. So that's how those are kind of separated out. There was an extra one here that you could adjust the lights with the light of the car. I don't seem to have a feed for that, so just light on or light off is fine with me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to use some electrical tape to separate the harnesses and keep them separate. So just to provide a little extra, basically a little less confusion if somebody was to come in here and work on this again. They could see, what's nice is these are all labeled, so they'll know exactly which wires go to which speaker, and try to keep this out of being as much of a rat's nest as it was. There you go, same sort of thing. So a little bit cleaned up there. You know, same sort of setup where you can look at the wires. They're labeled with exactly what they do. I did a better job of separating these together. These ones kind of run across each other a little bit more than they probably should, but that's good. That'll function for now. Get this one tucked back, and now we can look into trying to mount up the actual unit. So let's go pull these apart side by side and see if I can get this mounted up. Oh yeah, that's it. That is it right there. Nice. I am so stoked about this. It looks like a different car. I mean, look at how clean and natural. Like, yeah, these buttons are more worn. It would be nice if they were brand new, but like this completely matches. Look at how much nicer that is. All right, so we got everything back together after we finished the radio, and that was the entire interior. So we started with the hub, which was pretty easy. It was an RD hub, so it was, you know, built for the wheel. Threw the steering wheel on after we pulled the old wheel off, you know, to get that hub and wheel on. Wasn't too bad. Next up was that shift knob adapter. We actually didn't end up needing that. The slot in the shift knob for the 996 fit the 944. I wasn't expecting that. As far as I knew, they were different, but it was a $15, $20 piece, so it's not a big deal. I'll throw it back up on eBay or whatever and get rid of it. We got the shift knob in, which wasn't a big deal. I wasn't thinking about the knob boot though, so we did, you know, kind of trim that and make that work. So shift knob boot is in, and then, you know, obviously the Continental radio, we got that crappy old radio out of there. We were able to troubleshoot the switches. They seem to have fallen off the back when I did the last replacement. I probably didn't put them in very strong. Honestly, I think it was a late night and I was test fitting them and just kind of bolted them back in there. Didn't really clip everything back together. So those switches are done. The windows go up and down, which is awesome. And then the cup holder. The hardware where the cup holder sits is missing. The fitment also doesn't look that great. I didn't get anything on camera because I went to look at where it was going to go, and I don't know that we're going to use that. I'm going to see if I can find the hardware. I might bolt it in just to have it there temporarily, but I'm not really a huge fan of it. So for now, we're just going to knock that off the list. So that was all the interior stuff. It went easy. It was nice for once after doing the suspension, especially, you know, the fronts aren't really designed to fit the car. The rears definitely were a headache. Having everything that was straightforward, you know, the hub was made for the wheel that we got. The shift knob right on the car even out without the adapter, so without going the extra step. And then the wiring harness that was on the back of that crappy old radio actually matched the coloring for the wires on the harness for the new radio. I made sure to buy like a general harness for that radio so I could at least figure out where the speakers went and things like that, and the colors match right up. So I was able to cut and test fit and then actually heat shrink and wrap it. So all of that went well. All the speakers work, everything works. which is awesome. You know, things actually went straightforward for once. So rather than this taking me, 8 weeks, it took me a day or two. So that was awesome. Next up, I'm stoked. I kind of had to throw everything back together quickly because tomorrow we are going to do a test fit of the wheels and order the tires. So a buddy of mine, one of my best friends, has a shop. He's going to be busy, so I'm going to drive it over there with my tools, jack it up, throw a front and rear wheel on, and drop it on some wood, and then have him take a look and kind of, we've been talking about like 195, 45, I think, and 205 50 in a 16. It's going to be hard. It's hard to get sizes for 16 by 8 and 16 by 9. Those are pretty wide and aggressive for modern cars. Most cars that are going to have, 8s and 9s are going to be 17s, 18s, 19s, way more common than 16s nowadays. So it makes the tire selection a little bit challenging. So that's next up. Tomorrow we'll test fit and order tires, and then, we'll install the wheels and tires and kind of dial in the suspension from there. But that'll be pretty much it. Then we'll do the final touches. We'll throw the floor mats in that I've got. We'll give it a good detailing, and then I think I'm going to take it to an autocross day. I was looking at local tracks, and the closest thing is autocross, which would be a good, I've never been on a track. I've been 2 tracks and seen races, but it'd be a good first starting point for me. So we'll take it there. It should pass tech. I didn't need to do too much performance stuff. We talked about that, right? Like this car, you can spend $10,000 to get 15 or 20 horse out of it. The brakes are perfect for it. The pads and rotors are new. The calipers look a little bit old, but draining that fluid out of all of them, I'm really comfortable with how it's performing and stopping. I took it out for a drive after I did the suspension, so that should be enough to have some fun with it. So yeah, let's finish up here and get the tires ordered and the wheels on. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, thanks for watching. Tune in next time as I overhaul the 944. If you've got a second, hit that like and subscribe button below. It would really help me out.